At this point, we'll start composing our interface with widgets. Flutter comes with three types of widgets: a stateless widget, a stateful widget, and an inherited widget. The stateless widget is for an element that doesn't change on the screen, such as a label. A stateful widget does change and keeps track of its own state, like a slider or a counter. An inherited widget allows you to share state with other widgets. We won't be using the inherited widget in this course, although you will gain experience with it later in the Flutter learning path. Each widget comes with a build method. This is where we customize what appears on the screen. It's not uncommon to use multiple widgets in your build method. Some widgets allow for a child or children widget, such as a column. If you're new to programming in general and things like methods sound strange, don't worry. All will be explained soon. Just follow along with the demo on screen.
Get started by downloading the sample project for this episode or opening up your project in progress. Open up main.dart. The first thing we'll do is create a widget to encapsulate the entire app. We're going to create a stateful widget to encapsulate the game state. Scroll underneath your main method. Now to create the stateful widget. Type the letters ST. You'll see a drop-down with a bunch of code completion options. You want to select a stateful widget, so select the stateful widget option. Give it the name Game Page. Now, Visual Studio Code will produce a lot of code. You get two classes. What's a class? Well, I'm glad you asked.
A class is the definition of an object. Think of a class like a cookie cutter. We use a cookie cutter to create objects in Dart. Okay, what's an object? An object is a collection of data and methods. When writing code, it's far easier to think of code as objects versus individual lines of arcane text. Better still, we can pass around objects in our code. Now, each individual object is unique from each other, but also belongs to a family of similar objects called classes. Another way to think of classes is by way of role-playing games. In a game like Dungeons & Dragons, you create a character from a class like a wizard or fighter. Each wizard has abilities unique to their class, like casting spells, but each instance of the wizard class is entirely different from each other. For instance, Frobaz the wizard is quite different from Gandalf the wizard, although both like to wear bathrobes and cast spells.
Back in our demo, Flutter has defined two classes for us. One is your game page, that is a type of stateful widget. The other is called a game page state. You'll notice that there's an underscore before the name game page state. This lets you know that it's a private class. This just means that the class should only work with the game page class. Dart doesn't support the idea of public and private, so we mark items as private with an underscore. You'll notice that the game page state contains a build method. We'll start in the build method. You'll see that it returns a container widget. Change it to a scaffold. We want to center all our widgets in the scaffold's body property, so add a center widget. Next, we want to align all our widgets in a column, so add a column widget. We have lots of options when working with a column. One is for alignment. It'd be nice to center align all of our widgets, so set the main axis alignment property to center. Next, we need to add a children property. This property takes an array of widgets. An array is a series of items. For example, a solar array is a collection of solar panels. Our array takes a collection of widgets, and we'll be declaring them as unchanging using the const modifier. Again, if this is all new to you, the syntax is going to look really strange. Just embrace the strangeness and follow along. In time, after lots of practice and study, it will all make sense. Now we'll add a simple text widget. To see this in action, scroll up to the main method, and in the home property, replace everything with the game page widget. Now run the app. you get a simple message. But this time, being that the widget code isn't in the main method, you can change the text and the app will instantly update. Now let's add a little styling to this text using the text style widget. We'll bold it and give it the color green. Finally, let's add a text button after the text. We had to make some changes to our code. We will be labeling the text widget as a constant. Labeling an item as a constant means it never changes. This makes our apps run better. Don't worry about constants for now. Next, you'll notice that the text button takes a text widget followed by an onPressed event. This is the code that we want to run when the user taps the text button. If you mouse over the print statement, you'll see we're getting a warning. The warning informs us that we shouldn't include a print statement in production, which is a good idea, but we're just testing for now. Now, with our app already up and running, our changes have been already applied. Tap the button, then open up the debug console. You'll see the hello message printed out. Nice work.